Hello and welcome to the 2 Network match report with me, Adam. It's finished at London Stadium. It's finished West Ham to Newcastle United 0. A huge departure from the performance levels we've seen over the last month or so from Rafa's Mags. It really was a very unfamiliar looking performance from a team that has been largely unchanged and has been flourishing the last few fixtures. Last year against West Ham we won away 3-2 quite unexpectedly, having gone a goal down. We went an early goal down last year, and obviously the same thing happened again this year as well. Cher losing his man. Obviously Cher going forward is a really exciting prospect when the attacking threat levels aren't huge, and his ability, his confidence on the ball to bring the ball out and sort of act as a sort of half-back, almost sometimes sort of between the lines of defence and midfield, are real credit to us as when we progress forward. But you know, and I've said it before, that you know, I'd probably say Federico Fernandez is our second best defender at the club behind Lejeune. I think Fernandez is a really solid, dependable performer. I think he's a better defender than Lascelles even. But I think, as I mentioned before in the last video, Fernandez doesn't get a look in because of the balance of the ball players in Lejeune and Cher, and the no-nonsense style of Lascelles, the captain. And Cher's just been far too lax marking Declan Rice. Far too lax. He sort of loses him around a cluster of players, and it's a simple just sort of drop of the shoulder from Rice, and you just send Cher the wrong way, and then suddenly Cher's behind him, and Declan Rice has got a free head of the ball. And you know, in fairness to Rice, the contact he got was really sweet. It was an impressive steered header. He absolutely meant it. Downward header into the corner. Dubravka's not going to save that. Dubravka, you know, the commentators were suggesting should he have maybe come for it, but he had players in front of him, and ultimately, for man marking, he was unmarked. He was unmarked. Declan Rice, and Cher was unfortunately the one who lost his man, which is a real shame after the sort of his exploits earlier last week against Burnley. So it's just been it was a very flat performance, wasn't it? There was no chemistry. We just didn't click. And West Ham, who themselves can be very hot and cold. I think they're very much like Watford in that respect. Very inconsistent. You don't know which version of West Ham is going to show up. And they've been on a terrible run recently. Like, I think it's just like 1 win in 7 or something before today. But they've obviously made it 2. Chicharito got the start. Probably after the performance he put in at St James's Park in the reverse fixture, and once again another defensive error. Now he was able from a free kick to go from the sort of the edge of the centre, go from the edge of the box in the semicircle, and just dart a run in behind. It was really clever movement, really quick, incisive movement, and the ball was just flighted over to him and found him. And quick feet, he pushed the ball ahead of him to move away from Lejeune. Lejeune's committed to the tackle because he thinks he's crossing it or shooting, and it was just that trailing leg that just caught him. It wasn't a malicious foul at all. It was just, he literally just got him with a trip right at the end, and it was just, it is a penalty. I can't really defend that. It was just a mistimed challenge. However, looking on the replays, it seems that Hayden was marking Chicharito for the first goal from that corner. So I was looking at Hayden for the second goal on the replay, and at the point that Chicharito makes this darting run away, back post, Hayden's kind of looking the opposite direction and kind of remonstrating over there, like as if to say, I don't know if he's organising or saying something to teammates or the referee or whatever it was, but he's not watching his man. If that was his man, and I'd probably imagine if he's marking Chicharito from corners, he's probably going to be marking him from free kicks as well. He doesn't catch him. He's completely on his own, Chicharito, and he wins the penalty. Mark Noble steps up. There's a stutter for the first one. There's a false start. Then he comes back and he just blasts it top corner. Dubravka's not going to be able to save that either. But that first half, I mean, I think we managed 4 shots and didn't manage 1 on target. I remember one fairly decent cross coming in for Rondon where Diop got his head in the way, and you think, a few more of them. That's exactly what we need. And although we were very, very poor first half, we did improve second half. I guess we had to just, the kind of tension of the game had gone by that point. It was just a case of, right, well, let's just see what we can salvage. Let's sort of try and take the game to West Ham. But we just seem to have caught their defenders. Diop, who looks a hell of a player, by the way, very, very young. I think he's only about 22. Diop, he was absolutely exceptional today. He completely thwarted Salman Rondon, who had a number of chances actually. I'm not necessarily saying that he could and should have scored all of them or whatever, but I just think their defenders were excellent, and even Ogbonna got a really important challenge in on the in the second half as well. But Diop got his head in the way of Rondon. Diop also in the first half, which I've failed to mention, Diop got his. It was a sort of second phase of a corner, and the ball came out to Longstaff, who just cushioned a header back towards goal, and Cher had got in behind, and Cher was sort of unleashing. I mean, you just think if Cher's winding back his leg, gets a clean shot, that's a goal, that's 2-1, and suddenly it's a different complexion on the game. However, Diop throws this leg in front, and it's an incredible block, and you can only applaud that kind of defending. And the 2 central defenders were just very, very good. Aaron Cresswell went off left back as well and was replaced by Masuaku. And again, you've got to say that Masuaku was pretty damn effective when he came on as well. Very, very attacking. But you kind of think that, as much as Cresswell's, has had previously, maybe not in the last couple of seasons, but had previously had this reputation of being an assisting, left back, very much in the mould of like Robertson. This was kind of back in and Baines. This was a few years ago when there was quite a few impressive assisting left backs. Van Aanholt, another one of those attacking ones who would always get you a lot of points on Fantasy Premier League. But Masuaku's come in, who I think is ultimately kind of a midfielder, left midfielder turned sort of fullback. And the way he just bombs on, his physicality, it was just causing us all sorts of problems. And so that didn't help either. And I just think there was no, as much as I think their passing was very, very impressive, their movement was good. I'd mentioned Diop at the back, but I think the player who was kind of stitching it all together at the front is probably the best player in their squad in Lanzini. I think he's a cut above, and I think I'd be surprised if he doesn't move to a bigger club at some point over the next season or so, because he has an excellent technique, great confidence. It wasn't just anything sort of massively spectacular that he did today. It was just very effective, slick layoffs and touches, and things just seemed to go his way, and that it meant that they had flow and momentum on the attack, which we just seemed to be second best to everything today. Certainly in that first half, and then, like I say, second half, we looked to try and pick up Rondon a little bit more. Almiron was again starved of kind of much space, really. He kind of got crowded out today. Perez was very, very busy. Went down a couple of times quite easily for me. But by the same token, there was a couple of times he went down were blatant fouls and weren't given. So I think that was pretty harsh. But he was working very, very hard for the team. I do think Rondon was probably our best player today. He was very, very unlucky not to score. He was trying everything, wasn't he? And like I say, if not for these defenders just playing out their skin, which, let's remind you, they haven't been for the last few games for West Ham. They've been all over the place. So, we happen to catch West Ham on when they raised their game, and we fell victim to that. Now, I'm not going to get over the top. I'm not going to be scream my lungs out and say, I mean, it was shite. It was a shit performance. But again, you know, the previous kind of 6 games that they've given us, previous 6, we won 4, drew 1 and lost 1, I believe. You know, we were going to burn out at some point. There was going to be some kind of glitch at some point. What we need to make sure now, ahead of the Everton game next week, another team who, again, like West Ham, have just been on a pretty appalling run, and they've only just won that game yesterday. Everton have only just kind of, you know, won that game, kind of out of nothing, really. You know, their form's been very poor. I'd like to think that they're going to be poor when they come to St James's Park. They're not a spectacular side, but then neither were West Ham. So it'll be a tricky one. I think they'll present quite a similar level of threat, I think. But one positive that we can take from this, and there aren't many, apart from this, you know, the way we picked up in the second half, especially when we changed to a 4-4-2. Share came off the dummet, we shuffled it round, and we seemed to get a bit more. We seem to get a bit more joy in the final third. We seem to get a few more passes, you know, slicking together. You know, you have, you know, earlier in the half, you had Perez fire that sort of cross shot. It was neither something and out, was it? I could have gone in. Rondon had a shot on target. Rondon had a header blocked. He had a shot blocked. It was just one of those, wasn't it? He had a free kick off the post. So yes, Rondon's had a great game for me, but I think one thing we can be absolutely certain of is Rafa Benitez will learn from the mistakes that have been made in this game. He'll look at marking on set pieces, which ultimately has been the downfall of us today. 2 defensive errors, 2 players not getting picked up as they should in a man marking system, and both of them have led to goals. So at least, I mean, it's one issue. There was maybe a bit of question of fight in the first half as well. Longstaff got a yellow card, which I think was right. It wasn't a red for me. The ball was there to be won. Snodgrass did well to get there ahead of him. It was a yellow card in Outmore. Longstaff came off for Diarmi. Diarmi looked really. I mean, he's a unit, isn't he? And it's really good to see him back in the side, because I think he can still be a very, very important player for us. So it'll be interesting to see which midfield gets the start. I'd be inclined to think it might be Longstaff and Diarmi, because I think Hayden's at fault for that second goal, and I think ultimately Hayden is behind Longstaff as well as they've both been playing. We got outdone in the midfield today. We were outdone in the reverse fixture in the midfield as well, Rice and Noble. So I think we were probably looking to put a bit of steel in there. Diarmi was effective when he came on, and we're going to need that physicality against the likes of, you know, Gaye, who for Everton, who just looks a hell of a player. You know, could have got him at PSG in January. You know, that's the level that he's playing at. So Everton are there to be taken. I think it won't be easy, but if we play like we did today, where we've basically had about 14 shots. We've had 17 shots today and 2 on target. It's not good enough. We created enough chances for an away game. If you look at our previous away games in terms of chances created, we probably 17 shots away from home is more than we manage, more than we usually manage. Full stop. So we've created chances there. A few were blocked, but maybe a bit of better finishing, and we just need to be putting some chances away, and we need Almiron to maybe pick up a little bit, and Perez, and just to get a bit of luck. Maybe I'm being too harsh, and maybe it's just one of those days where people don't click, and West Ham happened to click, because there were nothing spectacular today, West Ham. I think we were just poor. I think that's why they won the game. It was errors. So onwards to Everton. We will learn from this. Benitez has a full week to work with his players to right the wrongs that we've seen tonight. And that's all we can ask. And all we can do is hope that we get another night that we've had the last, another game that we've had the last few, matches at St James's Park, where we will be more confident and there will be an atmosphere. I mean, there was no atmosphere at the London Stadium, was there? I literally could hear single individual West Ham fans coughing in the crowd. And when they were 2-0 up, all I heard was like, "Who's that team they call United? It's the Trotton Geordies." Mad, isn't it? Imagine being in that stadium. Like, it must be awful. Like, it was just terrible atmosphere. Like for a neutral, that wouldn't inspire me. But yeah, anyway. Beyond that, a few weird calls from the referee today. Like I say, a few fouls that weren't given. But overall, I don't think we deserved anything from this game, and justice was done. So I'll leave it there. Let's forget about that. It's a 5-0 on aggregate drubbing from West Ham United. Fair play to them. We just couldn't handle them. And on to the next one. I've been Adam of the Toon Network. Please subscribe and comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you think should be starting against Everton next week as well. And do subscribe and share and give us a rating as well. Thank you very much. I've been Adam of the Toon Network. This has been a Match Report. Bye-bye.